Welcome to the What the Podcast, where anything can happen. The hosts and guests remain anonymous to protect the innocent and the guilty. The views and opinions shared here are not the views and opinions of the sponsors, but they should be.
Welcome to the What the Podcast. Shocker, Grumpy. How you doing, boys?
What's up?
I'm just pissed.
As usual. As usual. The question is not if, it's about what, but we'll cover that later.
Right.
All right, so last episode we were talking and Shocker had a animal story he's got to tell, so take it away.
I feel like, in our lead-in commentary, I more and more animal stories started coming to light, and I get fired up. So this may be multiple episodes, or I'll have to scatter them in here and there. But the first one that was jumping out to me takes me back to like mid to late 90s. I'm working in Atlanta and kind of based in the Buckhead area, but we had a call center down in the Columbus, Georgia area. So I'm working with this IT team. Sidebar, my boss at that time flew in one of the Doomsday IT planes that flies alongside of Air Force One. So he would tell these stories about all the cool stuff and, decoy planes and all this stuff. But so we're having to make an entire team trip from Buckhead, downtown Atlanta to Columbus. I don't remember the distance. It's like an hour and a half or something like that. So, this team, while we worked with some of the folks, we didn't regularly hang out with everyone. So everyone's kind of scattering to the cars. And if I recall, the team may be like 40 or 50 people. So we're scattered in a dozen or so cars. So I end up getting stuck riding with my boss on the way down there. And this young lady is looking around like the last kid picked for a kickball. And she's going to have to crawl in the back seat with me and my boss. So we're in like this mid to late 80s Honda Civic hatchback, right? Looks like a rolling egg going down the road. So we get ready to pull out. We're leaving Atlanta, heading south and a little bit east, and the bottom falls out. I mean, one of these A+ turd floaters, right? Like you can barely see. Doesn't matter if you put new windshield wipers on, it's bad, right? I'm not feeling real comfortable in this little gumball shape of a car, but we're cruising along. I start to notice as we get south of Atlanta and 85 splits, I think, to 185 going toward Columbus, I start to notice my boss kind of stretching his neck up and grabbing the steering wheel with one hand and kind of looking to the side every now and then. And so I'm like, I don't know what's up with him. Maybe he farted. I don't know. He's moving around in his seat over there. A couple miles pass, and I see him grab the steering wheel, lean up, and look over again. I turned to him. I said, "What are we doing?" He said, "I just saw something on the road the other day. I want to check out." Okay. So I kind of peer my eyes back here in the back seat. I don't remember her name. We'll call her Wanda.
It's probably for the best.
We'll call her Wanda. Wanda's of African American descent, and she gives me this just slight look of concern, not really knowing what Roger's up to at this point. Rain keeps falling, thunder's booming. I see Roger lean and crane the neck one more time, and he has seen what he's looking for. And I said, Roger, what is it? He pulls over real fast, like a NASCAR pit stop, starts backing the car up. I haven't looked back yet. And he says to me, I saw a big buck 2 days ago when I was driving down this road, and I'm going to get it.
2
And I'm
days.
thinking 2 days have passed in middle of Georgia heat. This was May, June timeframe from what I recall, those heavy summer acid smelling heat, thunderstorms, and he is going to get this buck. And I start to wonder, why are we getting this deer?
This thing's going to be blown up like a balloon. I mean, it's going to look like a cockroach laying on the floor with the legs sticking everywhere.
How much room is there left on the hatchback?
Right. Again, not in a pickup truck, going to harvest the deer. I look back toward Wanda. Her face of concern is growing more and more. Like, what is this going to entail? And so Roger gets out of the car. He goes to the hatchback, pops it open, leaves it open, mind you, gets out an umbrella. So he goes over and he starts inspecting it. I hear him holler, "Yep, it's still here." I'm thinking, well, no shit, we see it over there at this point, right? That we also start to smell it, even though it's not in the vehicle at this point. So I hear Roger holler, "Could I get some help out here?" Now we aren't suit and tie, but we're at least sport coat, dress shirt. We're dressed, nice for this
You're
meeting.
the dreaded business casual.
We're business casual. We were not deer cleaning on the side of the interstate casual. Wasn't prepared for this. Didn't have muck boots, didn't have waders, didn't have any of the attire I needed for this. So I'm thinking that call is for me. I don't think Wanda's ever been through this experience at all, even in the appropriate setting. And she's in the back seat. So I get out and I realize I'm going to be the umbrella holder because now Roger, I said his name, has gone to the hatchback area and pulled out the rest of the collections that look like he's been to Home Depot and is now on Dateline. He's got black garbage bags and a hacksaw. And I grabbed the umbrella and I said, "Roger, before we get started, can I ask a couple questions?" "Well, sure, yeah." What are we harvesting here? What is the intent? He goes on to tell me that he's not interested in the meat, thank God. He's just wanting the head. Now, we're all fans of taxidermy. We've got wood ducks in our basement and a full turkey that one of our boys mounted and a deer. I know, Barty, you've got some.
Oh, yeah.
So we're fans of this. Now, the unofficial version I'm not used to. So he's wanting to harvest this head, and it was about a 9 or 10 point. He's wanting it for his son's treehouse, playhouse. And I'm assuming he's going to, work to get all the meat off and do what we now call a European Euro mount on it, where it's just the skull and antlers. But he goes to sawing. And if you've ever used a standard workshop hacksaw, it has the thin blade with minimal teeth. It's more like teeth of a bass, right? It's more like sandpaper. So he is sawing and sawing, and about 5 minutes pass, and I don't think he's broken through the skin. Fast forward, I look in the car. I see Wanda. She's trying her best not to look. She's beginning to turn shades of lime green, and she is straight ahead, even has hands up like blinders, just not wanting to look. This was early on in the cell phone days. We didn't all have cell phones. If you did, you had the Nokia brick phone. You were having to hit the button 3 times to get to the C type deal. So I feel like, looking back, she probably didn't have communication with friends, because she would have called 911, would have phoned a friend for a ride. She would have done anything in addition to taking photos of these crazy ass rednecks on the side of the road in the thunderstorm. Well, Roger ends up working this scenario out and gets the head off after cutting through the skin and the spinal cord and all that and bone. He gets the head, and so he puts it in one of the black garbage bags and loads it in the back of the hatchback. Now, Wanda is halfway into the front seat at this point. I thought
she's within inches of this thing.
Yeah. And so Roger gets it in there. He closes the hatchback down, bloody saw and all, and the stench is horrendous. I mean, it's awful. So we get riding down the road, and I look over there at him. Meanwhile, we're going to show up and walk straight into a data center, into a business meeting. He has got blood and hair from the elbows down. He has rolled his sleeves up, but he looks like he is coming straight out of the processing plant. And a smile from ear to ear, picturing what his son is going to experience when he gets home that night. Forget me in the front seat and Wanda in the back seat. She turns 6 shades of green on the ride. She never does vomit, but there is very little conversation out of anyone for the remainder of like the 30 or 40 minutes we had. We get to the data center, and the sun is, if you don't like weather, in the South, you wait 10 minutes, right? It'll change. Well, it has changed, and it is one of these 95-degree scorchers, and the sun is out. So guess what's going to happen to old Bambi Daddy in the back?
Pressure cooker.
Gonna be baking back there like grandma's crock pot. Yeah. And so we go into the meeting. I mean, she almost broke my back pushing the hatchback seat forward, getting out and running like Flash Gordon toward the front door. I don't know that she spoke to anyone during the meeting. She was disgusted. I ended up hitching a ride, not only because I did not want to ride back in that car with the pressure cooked Bambi Daddy, but one of my coworkers also had a cool new Corvette that I wanted to ride in. So I didn't get to experience the rest of it, but there you go. Taxidermy.
Did Wanda ride back with him?
No. He rode back by himself, partly because he lived en route back to the home office where all of our cars were parked. And it just worked out well because we sure as hell didn't want to be any part of the ride back. So there you go. Interstate Taxidermy 101.
Interstate Taxidermy. That's a great title.
True story.
Well, we know somebody else who has a mount hanging on a wall that was a roadside kill. But you know who that is.
Who's
Come
that?
on, Shocker. You know who it is. I'll tell you later.
I don't remember that one.
It's a family member to make it worse.
That doesn't surprise me. And they claim they shot it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got a story to go with it. Unfortunately, they had an accomplice in the roadside crime, and so that accomplice has loose lips. So I know the truth. Hard to have bragging rights when, because sometimes you have this taxidermy mount that you've got, and you're proud of how you got it, so you may stick like an arrow with a broad head up in the antlers or something like that. I've always laughed and said there should be a piece of a car up in the antlers.
Yeah, a brake light dangling down by some electrical wires.
Doesn't have to be a big piece, just some piece.
Yeah. I'd love to see some black tire prints kind of zigzagged across it or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, it's got to be noted appropriately.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Grump. I know you
Yeah,
had a
so,
story to follow.
Yeah, I mean, this is when we say, next week we're going to cover animal stories, this is the one that always comes to mind for me, but with animal stories. And this was mid 80s. I did not grow up on a farm, but I had a good friend who did. And he would call me from time to time, and if they were going to go out of town or something, he'd have me help with some livestock. And I bottle fed a couple of calves for him. That was kind of fun. And so I would just drop by on a weekend if nothing was going on, just to see what they were up to. And so I pull up to his farm, and as I'm pulling up, I'm seeing there's a horse. He had cows and horses, and there's a horse pretty much literally in the side yard of the house. So they had removed this horse from the paddock area, and they had a tractor out there, and I just pulled up. Hey, what's going on? And he goes, "Man, we need some help. Get over here." I'm like, "All right." And so he goes, "Get on that left side of the horse and make sure it doesn't fall over." I'm like, "What's going on with this thing?"
Is it mounted?
Yes, I think that probably veterinarians who handle cows and horses have they I guess these are the same ones that get the special specimen from time to time, but they deal with some crazy stuff. And so the vet is there, and he goes over to his truck, and I mean, again, I'm pushing against this horse that's standing on its own, but clearly something is not right. And they've got two guys, Greg's on the other side of this horse, and we're basically just trying to help it stand up. and the vet comes back from their truck with this glove that goes all the way up to your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I'm, I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, I was 16 years old maybe, and he proceeds to put this glove on and moves the tail of that horse out of the way and proceeds to go into that horse's vajayjay and attempt to move what turns out to be stillborn baby horse. I
Mm.
don't know what the right term is for a baby horse, but um, apparently this baby had not made it, and the process for dealing with that, I learned what the tractor was for, and the chain that was attached
Oh,
to the
jeez.
tractor.
Mm.
When the vet took the chain and you know wrapped it around the head of this baby horse, and they proceeded to pull that baby horse out of that mama. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I was thinking the arm condom was going to be the only tool required.
no, it went from bad to worse
Oh,
real quick.
not John Deere Green. Yeah, I guess you
Yeah,
got a pretty large creature in there.
yeah, it was good size, and I'm pretty much in shock once I figured out what was going on. I don't remember ever getting nauseous, but I might throw up at the sight of that today. It was brutal. I know that's not a funny story, but that's the one that comes to mind that made an impression on me.
It
So
did.
yeah,
What what'd you,
so
what'd your therapist say about this?
oh gosh, that therapy so far back I couldn't tell you. Um, that was probably my second therapist. I'm working on 10 or 11 now, but yeah, I tell you, I
Yeah,
mean,
if it
if you ever,
doesn't work, let's change therapists. That always helps.
sure, I mean, it's just rotating wall, really, from one issue to another. But yeah, it's you got to thank those veterinarians, man. They
Oh
they
yeah.
they do some stuff, and there's a lot of I never saw this, or I've only heard it joked about, but that whole quarter horse, breeding sort of lineage and passing of, I don't know. I'll pass the animal story torch back over because those are some interesting processes.
Well, I've got a happier story. So let's switch gears from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on that one. Um, but so years ago, we lived in another state, but we had property and a home in a different state. And one of our favorite things to do was to get everybody together. And, we've got a football family, college football, reigns supreme, roll tide. And
Roll Tide.
Iron Bowl. Iron Bowl is the big event. So my bride comes up with this great idea that we are going to have while we're back in this other state visiting their family, we're going to have this massive Iron Bowl party, and we're going to invite everybody. And so we do that. Ends up being and it was 2023. So for those that know anything about SEC football, with about a minute to go in the game, everybody, Auburn and Alabama fans, are all convinced Auburn's about to win this game. And Alabama pulls off just a miraculous victory in the last minute of the game that has
Hmm.
adequately shocked everybody. The Auburn fans are shocked they've lost. The Alabama fans are shocked they've won, and everyone is shocked beyond disbelief. I mean, you can't even be excited about it because it's kind of crazy. But so everybody's just kind of in this state of being stunned, this group of combination of people. And they all start filtering out. And it's probably 6:30 p.m. And my bride and I had talked about that we were going to leave early the next morning and drive to the other state to beat all of the post-holiday traffic because we had about a 9-hour drive. And so everybody's suddenly leaving on us. And she looks at me and she says, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And I said, "Yeah," because we're all keyed up at this point. So she's thinking we're about to get in the truck and drive 9 hours, beginning at like 8 p.m. And at the time, it sounded like a really good idea. That's a whole nother story. But uh, our friends and family that are there, they all decide they're going to chip in and help us get out the door because they realize the journey we're about to take. And so one of my buddies says, "Well, I'm going to help with the trash." And I said, "Man, I appreciate it." So in the scramble to get everything out of the house, um, fast forward. So this is late Saturday night. On Monday evening, about, I don't know, 9 p.m., something like that, the ring cameras that I had around our property in the other state start going off like crazy. And I'm getting all these alerts on my phone. Well, nobody's there. And so, you know, one ring alert I've learned, just don't worry about it. It's probably a bug that flew by some camera. But when you start getting like three in a row, you start getting curious, what in the world is setting off these ring cameras? And so I pop on my app on my phone and I'm looking at it going, what the hell is that? Because I can't process what I'm looking at. And there's this white stuff all over the place, and there's these little black creatures. Well, what I quickly discover is that I have trash pandas. I've got raccoons that have torn apart two white kitchen trash bags full of food trash that has been left behind our barn. And they are going to town. Well, my reaction is naturally, I get pissed at the raccoons. So over the ring cameras, I start yelling and cussing at these raccoons like they understand English. And it startles them and they kind of scurry away. And I was just like, holy crap, that's a mess back there. Well, we're 9 hours away. What am I going to do? I mean, so I was like, dang, we'll be back in a couple months. I'll clean it up, whatever. Well, the next night, same routine. My trash pandas are back, and they are enjoying themselves completely. Well, this time when I pop on the cameras and start yelling at them, they look over their shoulders like, "Shut up! We know you're not there," and they keep munching. So they have their way with the trash that night. Well, by the third night, it happens again, and I yell at them and they don't move. Well, I start laughing about how I reacted the first night and go back and find the video and audio recording and send it to our son, and he can't stop laughing at me because I am just dog cussing these raccoons. Um, but dang, they made a freaking mess. They finally ran out of food to eat, so they just left all the trash for me to clean up when I got back. But
I
I,
dealt with
I,
those bastards last weekend. They will open the trash
oh,
can
yeah,
lid and dive
yeah,
in the bags. I before I left, I ended up putting big cinder blocks on top of the trash cans, hoping they're not strong enough to move them.
yeah. There's only one thing that takes care of that. It's a
22.
22. That's
Oh
right.
yeah.
That's right.
Because they keep coming back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We moved in a house years ago and it was on 5 acres, and the people we buy this house from, to this day, I'm just like, you people are the dumbest people on earth. They, we had an agreement as to what, their move out and all these different things. Well, we are moving into the house after we bought this house. They're supposed to be gone. And they have left two things at this house. And to this day, I still find it bizarre. The first one, I kind of get. They left an ugly ass trampoline. I kind of get that because I might have tried to pull that off myself. But the other thing they left is a cat. Who the hell leaves a cat? And so
Yeah, no
I'm
kidding.
dealing with this cat. Um, and so I'm fighting with them about all this different stuff. Well, in the process of moving in, our son finally said, finally said, "Hey, Dad, would you please set up my Xbox?" And I had put it off, put it off, put it off. I said, absolutely, buddy. I'm going to do it right now. I'm stopping what I'm doing. And he's all excited. And he runs off to this room that is a rec room above the garage. And so I grab what I need. And when I walk in that rec room, he's not sitting on the couch. He's sitting on the top of the back of the couch. And he has this look on his face. And he's probably 5, 6 years old. And he's got this look on his face. And he says, "Dad, there's an animal over there." And what pops in my head is a damn cat, because I couldn't seem to catch the cat. And I walk around the corner thinking I'm about to run into a cat, and what I see is a pissed raccoon. He is, man, he's mad. He is hissing. He's jumping at me. I'm like, holy crap, I'm about to fight with a raccoon because he's cornered in this room. So I ended up having to run him out of there. Shot him a couple days later. But man, they're mean.
They
Mean.
are mean. They are mean. Speaking of the trampoline, have y'all ever tried to move one of those sons of guns?
A trampoline?
I have. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell
Yep.
you, I was at a family friend's, and they were going to give this trampoline away. They were my age and had, finished in high school, outgrown it, let's say, and so they were going to donate it to another family. Well, they offered, hey, we'll even move it and deliver it to your house, which meant I was there and I got to help them move it and deliver it. Well, when you put a trampoline together, you put the frame together, stretch the trampoline part, whatever it's called, across it, and it's not under pressure. But once that sucker gets under pressure, it is a spring-loaded killer waiting to happen, right?
Yeah.
So we decided we had a big '77 Caprice Classic station wagon at the time, nicknamed the Maha. Barty, you know this.
Oh, yes.
Nicknamed the Maha, and the Maha has all kind of stories. We should probably do a whole show on the Maha and the things it's done. But we decide the
And
safest.
the things that have been done in the Maha, might I add.
True. And yeah, and so we tried to we were gonna pick this up. We didn't realize the tension this thing was under, but we pick it up and it says and kind of crimps down like a big C or a tunnel, right? We realized this is close to trouble. Well, anyway, 4 of us decide if we could just put it over the Maha and let it spring load down around it like a little tunnel, we'll just drive this sucker across town. So that's exactly what we did. We took the fully hinged and loaded trampoline, let it tunnel around the Maha, and we drove it about 8 miles from one side of town to the other. Those things are dangerous, though. I mean, second only to a garage door spring. Like, it's waiting to kill somebody.
Oh, well, and once the trampoline's put together, it is where it is. You cannot take it apart and put it back together somewhere. It's physically impossible.
To your point, it should just be a given that it stays with the house.
Yeah, bullshit.
It's now like an in-ground pool. It swings set. It stays.
What ended up happening is I called this guy and I said, dude, please, would you come get your trampoline? And he's like, yeah, I'll come get it. Well, about 4 or 5 days goes by and the trampoline's still sitting in my yard and I haven't heard from this guy. And so I called him again, said, hey, just wanted to get an idea when you're coming to get your trampoline. He says, yeah, I'm coming to get my damn trampoline. All right, dude, just relax. Just come get your trampoline. Well, another week goes by and this trampoline's still sitting in my yard. So now I call him and I said, hey, come get your fucking trampoline. Okay, just get it out of my yard. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to ask you. Well, he comes tearing in to my driveway in his truck, pulling a trailer, and as fast as he possibly can, he throws that trampoline up on that trailer and is screeching out of my driveway. And he's doing it. And I'm watching him. I'm just rolling, laughing at him. I'm like, hey man, it's your trampoline. Just get the thing out of my yard. But he has reached that point of total pissed, and he's trying to make a point with his exit. And in the process of pulling out of my driveway, the trampoline takes out my neighbor's mailbox. And
Oh.
I cannot stop laughing. I am dying laughing. And he gets out of the truck and he's mad. He's kicking stuff and he's just beyond. I mean, he has lost his mind. And when he sees me standing there laughing at him, it didn't go very
No.
well.
Mm.
He decided he wanted to fight somebody, so he was going to fight me. And he starts heading towards me. And I looked at him and I said, 3 more steps, I will whip your ass to the point that you never are able to walk again. And he stopped and turned around and walked back. Well, about 3 days later, I see him out there rebuilding my neighbor's mailbox. I just waved at him. I'm like, good Lord, what a jerk.
Another Ring video that'd be great to see.
Oh, I wish, man, that was before Ring videos, but that would have been a classic one.
Yeah, it
Um,
was.
Going back to animals though, I got a pet story. My bride, who I love dearly, she and my daughter, who was 16 at the time, they decide the perfect birthday gift for my daughter is a dog. And I'm like doing the freaking math in my head. I'm like, what are we doing? She's going to college in a couple years. Why are we buying her a dog? She's not taking a dog with her. Um, so they decide that they're going to get this dog, and there's no talking them out of it. And they start searching and searching and searching. Well, they decide they want to get a little dog. So just like a, 6, 7 pound dog. Well, I've lived long enough to learn little 6, 7 pound dogs, they are inherently dumb. They're just stupid animals. Okay, a little dog's got a little itty bitty pea brain. They're just not very smart. And then to make matters worse, they choose the runt of the litter. So not only is this dog stupid by nature, it's also retarded. And um, and I start calling this dog dumbass. Dog's name was Bay. Well, I start calling it dumbass. And every time I call it dumbass, its tail would wag. It was happy. It thought that was its name. And this goes on for years. Of course, daughter goes off to college. We get stuck with this stupid little dog that, I mean, the dog was so dumb. The only time the dog went outside was to go to the bathroom. You take the dog out there and it would look at you like, why are we here? It's like the only reason we come outside. But I buy a collar for this dog. I buy this pink collar that is embroidered with the name Dumbass. And to this day, I am so disappointed in myself that I didn't put a fake phone number on this collar. Because fast forward a number of years later, and this dog's kind of getting up in years. And at the time, we were living on a large piece of property. My neighbor calls me, and I say neighbor. I can't see his house. I mean, his neighbor is relative when you live out more in the country. And he calls me and he says, "I think we have your dog." And of course, I'm like looking around going, "Well, I see my dog. I don't know what dog he's referring to." And he says it's a little blonde dog and it has a collar on it that says dumbass. And I said, he goes, "It is your dog." And I said, "Yeah, well, it's not technically my dog. It's my daughter's dog, which she abandoned and my wife has taken over." Um, and he says, I said, "Where did you find this dog?" And he said, "Well, we got home and it was standing in the middle of the street." I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably about right." He said, "So we picked it up to save it and we've got it. You want to come get it?" And his name's Jack. And I said, "Hey,
No.
Jack." I said, "Tell you what." I said, "I got a deal for you, Jack. Why don't you keep that dog and I'll give you $100." And we never had this conversation. And Jack laughs. He says, "What's wrong with the dog?" I said, "Jack, you've been around the dog for what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes?" He goes, "Yeah, that's probably about right." I said, "Is that a smart dog?" He goes, "No, it is not a smart dog." I said, "You're right. It's a stupid dog." And he laughs. He says, "Were you coming to get it?" I said, "All right, Jack, you drive a hard bargain, $200. And he laughs, and I said, "Jack, $300. I will pay you $300 right now to keep that dog." And we never had this conversation. And he just laughs. He says, "Come get your dog." So I end up having to go pick up that stupid dog. Um, Unbelievable. What a dumb dog.
It,
Funny.
it, it was reminding me of our golden lab that I sold on social media. One of many animals that I sold on social media.
Is that the same dog that you kept threatening to kill?
Yes.
And I advised you that that was really bad because if something happened to that dog, you'd be blamed for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I will make the story short, but the dog loved to dig, and I'm a bit OCD. I know that's surprising. And having to look at holes dug in the backyard and repair them was driving me nuts. We ended up moving, small yard, dog was bored, hot, digging holes, taking over the side porch, couldn't take it anymore. So the family somewhat decided together that we needed to sell the dog on Craigslist and on Craigslist. And so, I made the decision that's where I was going to list it, I think. And so I may have put an ad in the paper too. But anyway, got a call from this family. She said, "Oh, we've always had dogs, just me and my husband. Kids are gone, always had dogs. He's got a medical condition. I really think that having him a companion in the house would be good. His mobility's not great, and just this will be great." I said, "Well, it is a larger yellow lab mix, She said, "Well, we're in a, 3-2, but we've got a fenced-in backyard. It'll be fine." I said, "Okay." So I'm pumped. I took off work, at lunchtime, I had the big crate of all the dog's belongings, the dog, all the food. I was offloading everything that we had
No,
that had
no evidence that you ever had this dog.
anything that had a dog hair left on it. So I get to this house, which was about 30 minutes from my work. Another hot day again. I'm in a suit now. I get out with the bin, the dog, go in the house, meet the lady. Well, the husband's there sitting on the couch. He's got a walker, and he stands up real, feebly, and I kind of introduce him. Well, the dog's tail, barely brushed him. Well, the older gentleman falls on the couch, feet and hands in the air like a dead roach, and he's stuck there. Well, so I offer to help. He's a little bit embarrassed and mad and just tells me to get the hell away from him. The dog is running laps now inside the house and like banging into fine china in the dining room as it passes through that room, white carpet. And I'm thinking, this is not working, but okay, let's introduce the dog to the backyard. The wife's like, okay, this is a great plan. So we go in the backyard, dog roams around for a minute. I like close the door and leave him out there. Like he's good out there. Right. So
you're trying to get to the truck as fast as possible.
I'm trying to get to the truck. Right. So the husband, aka Dead Roach, has now righted himself and is talking and looking a little anxious. But I say, hey, look, food's here, Ben's here of all the belongings. I'm out. So I get out. Again, to your point, I think I lay a wheel leaving this house. I get around the corner about a mile and a half away and stop at the gas station. So my wife calls me and she says, I said, where are you? She says, oh, we're at PetSmart. The boys needed a guinea pig to kind of make them feel better about this whole getting rid of the dog. And we have multiple kids, so one guinea pig wasn't going to do. Now we have multiple cages and multiple guinea pigs. And I said, okay, well that is what it is. Oh, sorry, I've got a call beeping in. Let me go answer this. It's probably work. Nope, it's Dead Cockroach's wife, and she's called to say, this just isn't going to work. I said, ma'am, please, I beg of you. Didn't you say you have a son that lives a few miles away and they live out in the country? Call him and tell him how great this dog will be there with he and the grandkids. Okay, well, I've talked to him and I don't think he's wanting the dog. Okay, well, ma'am, would you just call him again? I've got to go back to work. So I begged her to call her son and anyone that she knew on God's green earth, and I was going back to work. Well, anyway, I made it about 30 minutes back at the office, and she said I was just going to have to come pick the dog up. So the day ended with me making the trek back to her house, getting the dog, the food bin and all the container and all the stuff, and going home, not only to the dog's house, but now the dog in the multiple guinea pig kingdom. So I was able to offload the dog to another wonderful family. A couple weeks later, they let that beast sleep in their bed and has an air conditioned and heated doghouse and all kind of stuff. It worked out eventually, but it was a roller coaster there for a while.
Yeah. All right. Well,
anyway,
we're about out of time, but guys, I got to prep you. Okay. the next podcast episode, I have spent the last 4 days at the beach. I am almost convinced the beach is worse than the airport. Um,
For people
we-
Which
watching
beach
or
are
getting
you at?
crabs?
we're in Destin. No,
Is it people watching or getting crabs? Which one are we talking about?
people watching. I already
Oh,
had
okay.
crabs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's people watching. I am utterly fascinated by what people will wear on the beach. Um, the extensiveness of improvements now. I saw a girl today. I swear to God, she's 14 years old, maybe. She has Botox injections in her lips. What are we doing?
So you can make
Um,
that
Don't even get
chicken
me
peg
started.
face.
It's
I
that.
mean,
It's Gen Z, dude. It's Gen Z.
between that and, the guy in the gym yesterday morning that I do not, yes, I go to the gym when I'm on vacation, but I go to the gym all the time. I mean, not just when I'm on vacation. I don't understand why somebody would choose that they're like one of their first trips in their life to the gym happens when they're on vacation. What are we doing?
You got to get those
Um,
beach pecs all swole.
I mean, dude's in
The,
there
the
and
day of.
Yeah, the
I
day
mean,
of.
dude is in there and it's like I mean, I wanted to look at him and say, did you read all this in a men's health magazine? He's in there with 20-pound weights. Okay, so he's got girl weights to start with, and every time he does a rep he goes and to make matters worse, he's got calf high University of Tennessee orange and white checkerboard socks on. And I'm like,
Beautiful.
well, that makes
Good
some sense
Lord.
to me. But I mean, good gosh, I am fascinated by people at the beach. Oh,
Well, whatever you're seeing there in Destin, buddy, I can tell you, you go due west, Gulf Shores absolutely takes the cake on people watching.
yeah. I
I
don't know.
mean,
Is that
there are
worse than
no limits to what will walk down the street.
I mean, is it worse than the Redneck Riviera?
You know,
I think it is. I
I
think it's epicenter. I think it moved.
I was just down in the Redneck Riviera. Actually flew into there, had dinner
Also
there.
known as Pandas Beach.
Right.
Mhm.
And actually, to your point, I was thinking yesterday how the Redneck Riviera has come on and almost bypassed Destin and some of the others because they've been willing to change and been willing to let the construction and the new build happen. Now, maybe it's post hurricane; they had no
I was
choice,
about to say,
unfortunately.
it had something to do
I
with them
mean,
getting really
yeah,
devastated by a hurricane.
yeah. I mean, Hurricane Michael was not nice, and I'm not making light of that event, but I mean, they have built the heck out of that place.
Yeah, they have.
It's impressive.
They have. I know. But
All right,
anyway,
so
yeah,
beach stories are up and coming. Huh?
yeah, we can do an entire episode on that. I'm utterly fascinated.
I love when the thunderstorms brew up like late afternoon, and we're kind of showered and thinking about grabbing dinner or something, watching on the balcony, and all the people that left their tents out there thinking they were going to be okay overnight, and now they're tumbleweeds going down the beaches. That is some funny shit right there to watch, especially if you have the drink in hand.
Well, and the people who are running out there to try to save their tent.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like, yeah, you're wasting your time, dude, but good
Yeah.
luck.
Hey, look, here's the lesson. Leave the frame, just take the fabric top off, right? It's going to be fine.
You're being way too logical.
I know.
All right. Well, guys, enjoyed it as usual.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Till next
Till next
episode.
time.
See ya.
See y'all.
You have survived another episode of The What the Podcast. The views and opinions shared here are not the views and opinions of the sponsors. Tell your friends. Or don't. We don't care.